Also, the other like surprising thing about it is he took a pay cut because Jerry West not only promised him like the glory and the success, but he also told him, "Hey, look, we can't pay you what you want, but we're promising you success. We're promising like they offered him everything and they delivered." And long behold, the Orlando Magic were left with nothing. I mean, a couple years later they drafted, but this is like years later.
You're talking about years.
Dwight Howard, but like they were left.
But so long. So how long of that gap?
Yeah,
from
from
they were pretty much
2000.
irrelevant.
Yeah. It was like, but that honestly was probably the biggest mistake of the 90s and goes to the Magic, unfortunately. And, you know, all hell. Oh, no, I'm not gonna say.
Brooklyn. But it's basically what could have been with this Orlando Magic time, because you're talking about Shaq.
As he's getting better, too.
Yeah, he's just honestly just getting better and better and better, more dominant. And for that man to move the way he did was just unseen. You never really ever saw anything like that. And I mean, we were lucky enough to see that with the Laker teams of the 2000s. Obviously, when we finally got to see Shaq in near his final form, it was just unstoppable.
Yeah,
dunking on Chris Dudley.
Oh yeah, and then the New York Knicks center where he ended up like.
Was it that Chris Dudley?
I don't know, but he's a mayor now, and he probably has like a picture. Of him.
Yeah, it's just a reminder of how powerful this man was.
Yeah,
and you know what? Yeah, that's just Orlando's bad.
Yeah,
but the Lakers game. So the next one on our list happens to be a team that made two huge mistakes. And we're talking about the Portland Trailblazers, because now you're talking about these guys potentially drafting two all-generational talent. Unfortunately, they didn't. And we're talking about Michael Jordan and Kevin Durant. But who do they draft instead? Sam Bowie and Greg Oden.
Greg Oden, man, he looked old already. Like he looked like he was ready to retire.
And you're telling me that this is the time when bigs were really sought after. And unfortunately, these guys honestly could have gotten these other two players. And who knows? We could have been talking about the Trailblazers as being that Trailblaze.
That six championship.
That could give them the 6 championships. We'd be talking about Jordan as a Trailblazer. And we'd be talking,
right now, Kevin Durant.
We'd be talking about Jordan as the Trailblazer, as the man who's now bringing titles to the Northwest.
Yeah.
And it's so unfortunate, but this is what happens when you draft bigs in a time when you felt like bigs were really important. And no, I honestly, besides Shaq, I can't really think of any other big who's made that big of a difference for a team. No. But I'm talking about in that time.
Oh,
we can go back.
One player.
And even then, it's like it's really
David Robinson. I mean, there's a few, but there's not.
Not enough to justify you drafting. Like, you can give me those names, and I'm going to tell you Michael Jordan.
You can't.
Well, hey, what about no? I'm telling you, you could have had Michael and Jordan.
Yeah, in the 80s to the 90s, and that's like dominance. Michael Jordan. We're talking about the GOAT, the greatest player of all time, like period. And then Kevin Durant, the next generational player, and
the next all generational player. I mean, almost right now we're talking about him being one of the best players in the league now. Now we imagine him with the Trailblazers.
Well, they were the Trailblazers.
They were. What ended up could have been. It was just funny when you say that. What could have ended up being one of the best teams of all time, ended up being a joke of itself on drafting or picking players that had a terrible history off the court and just a bunch of just stuff behind the scenes that you'd be embarrassed about to be a team owner.
Yeah, but going back to that, imagine now Kevin Durant and Damian Lillard, like that. It's that in itself 1-2 punch, and it's.
I think you're just throwing some haymakers at Blazers fans. I believe so.
I mean, again, it could have been now. You're talking about LaMarcus Aldridge, Damian Lillard, and Kevin Durant. Oh, that's.
But it just goes back to what management in the Blazers, because we're talking about the Trailblazers management. What kind of mistake they made, and they made 2 big ones.
This is where you need one of those like I don't know,
multi-universal. I'm beginning to think that there's probably a universe out there where this did happen, and it all happened.
Some Rick and Morty shit.
Yeah. So, but now but we're in the one where they decided not to draft those.
Yeah. Damn.
So So honestly, me and Jesus could have actually added a lot more to this list, but you know what? We kind of feel like this last one it takes the cake because we're going right back to the '90s, and we're talking about a time when Chicago was dominating everything.
It was Michael Jordan. It was one player, Michael Jordan, dominating the like.
But it was that Bulls organization that brought people's pieces around him. Because obviously Jordan tried to do it on his own, couldn't get past the Pistons.
But the Pistons were like already established. They were the bad boys. They were like the Jordan rules, and it was like a big thing about that. But yeah, definitely. And this, just to let you guys know, this was not a decision he made like out of nowhere. Like, hey, I'm quitting basketball and I'm gonna go play baseball. No, this is we need to let you guys know that his father passed away and let him know, hey, my dying wish is for you to play baseball, and I want to see you as a major league player. And granted that he made his father's wish come true.
Yeah, because as a person, like as fans, we like to think, oh man, that's a dumb decision in retrospect, and that's just why we kind of when we added this on this list, we were also like, look, as fans, we were just speculating on what could have been. What could have been with this? Because honestly, he just came off his first three-peat, left to play baseball for 2 years, came back, dominated. Like he never left. Like he came right back, and the team was just
his spirit was still
again.
Yeah. And the crazy thing about it is, granted he was the best basketball player of ever, but he goes to baseball. And he's like one of the worst baseball players ever. He gets one home run. I remember one home run, and he's like all of a sudden. Like, yeah, that was my accomplishment. I'm done. And even the ending of Space Jam, like he didn't go back to the court. He went back to baseball, but still, it was his father's decision to do that, and he made his wish come true. But as fans and as basketball minds, we all think of what could have been in those 2 years.
Think about those 2 years he was out.
You're opening up Pandora's box, and this becomes Schrodinger's cat. All the different options you don't know until you see it.
So what we like to think though, because Houston was the winners of the years he was gone. So what would happen if they have gone up against Houston? I still pick Jordan over that Houston team.
Yeah, it's very hard to not go. I mean, Hakeem Olajuwon was a beast among men on his own, and he had a squad around him. But Jordan, Horace Grant, Scottie Pippen, and
I don't think it was just enough to take the Bulls out because this was their era.
Yeah,
and you're talking about now potentially an 8-peat.
8-0 8-peat. Yeah, that's something that hasn't been done since.
We're talking about how when there was only so many teams back in.
Yeah, and it was like he was a center. He was 6'11", going against like 5.
And it's funny because we were also talking about finals records. How LeBron's 3-5, Kobe's 5-7,
yeah,
but Jordan's 6-0. And we got to thinking like how we already proclaimed him the GOAT.
Yeah.
He's the greatest of all time.
There's a bit of argument there, like, oh well, Kareem, oh well, Bill Russell, oh well, Bill Walton, oh not Bill Walton, but Bill Russell and Kobe Bryant. Like they're still like maybe, even though everybody has him as number one, if he goes.
But we were thinking if he wins those 8 championships, he'd be 8-0.
Yeah, and there's no one that could say.
And now you're telling
LeBron,
me,
Kobe, no.
There'd be no discussion. Like Never.
Jordan
would be cemented as, if not already, be cemented as one of the best basketball players of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Just not as just that scoring machine, not also as just
killer mentality.
It
was just dominance, straight dominance from defense to offense to like mentality. His game was locked down. Like there was no imperfections in his game. But yeah, definitely. I mean, good thing for him that he did that for his father.
Yeah, because we feel like as human beings, this man did a wish for his father, and you know what? We can't knock him for that.
Yeah.
If you're one of those people who want to talk any smack about that, then you're just really selfish because this man made the biggest unselfish decision ever to go play baseball near the peak of his career.
Yeah.
Near the time where you're talking about a Bulls team that was built to beat anybody.
Yeah, and it could have beat anybody. But, stuff happens. We missed out on 2 years of Jordan and showing the world what he could have added to his repertoire or added to his accomplishments. And instead we got a Michael Jordan that, we never want to see again, unfortunately. But things happen, and, it's his decision.
That's all we can say, man.
Yeah.
Because regardless, he's still the best player ever. and no one's gonna dispute that. I know we have this man in Cleveland who's trying to get there, but
No, there won't be any equal to that.
it's just one of those times where, you know what,
Mm-hmm.
it's still, even regardless of the finals record, there's still a lot to catch up on.
Oh,
with this man.
yeah.
And you know what? Again, we use this last one just for the simple fact that he left in he left
In
he
the
left the
peak.
game, and we think it's a mistake that he made. But when we look at it, we also know the reasoning behind his decision.
Yeah.
And with that,
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, well, that's pretty much it. And the NBA season is right around the corner. It's about to begin. Make sure you check out Legendary Sports. Make sure you check out the Dirty Mint. And I'm LAJ.
this is Young Pete again.
And we'll catch you guys next time.